Jim Burnett. I'm the executive director for VestedIn.
How does VestedIn define and measure self-sufficiency for the communities that you serve?
Wow, that's a great question. And we look at how can communities be self-sufficient and not necessarily dependent upon us or other resources. The reality is something entirely different. We are all dependent upon each other. And so to that extent, we try to make sure that whatever resources that we can provide and connect them to is what we do. In order for us to help communities be sustainable, we have to be sustainable too. And one of the ways of doing that was investing in that shopping center that throws off cash to our organization. We, in turn, created Wesco Fellows, where we bring in high school students, so we hire high school students. We still invest with loans to small business to help those communities, and also help them in terms of their planning, so that they can really think through what's important to them, and we're still doing that today.
What role does community engagement play in shaping your programs?
A lot. So our other accelerator program is for barbers and salons. And so we, again, through COVID, the barbers and salon or the beauty industry was one of the hardest hit because they had to close for such a long period of time. But what we saw is they were also one of the industries that had the biggest need in terms of support. Part of that support meant, what do we help you do to grow? Maybe get from behind the chair. So if you're getting older or if you're younger and you really want to think about managing a business versus cutting hair, we would create an accelerator.
Now, are there any unique challenges posed by being a member of a statewide network?
I think it's fantastic being a member of a statewide network. It's been hugely important for VestedIn. I think one of the things as a smaller CDFI who's really focused on small communities in neighborhoods, and it's been a little bit different than some of the larger organizations in our network that they may still do small business lending, but they also do housing loans, large affordable housing loans, and other charter schools and things like that. We don't do those types of transactions. We really focus on the small business and trying to make sure that they have opportunities to actually grow, maybe get more capital from those other CDFIs, and also maybe grow to the point where they're getting capital from banks. I think for us, the relationship with the CDFI network has allowed people to see that as a small institution, we can still have impact too.
What does the most recent executive order regarding CDFIs mean for VestedIn and the future of its programs?
We know that over the last 40 years, CDFIs have had a major impact on the communities that they serve, whether they be urban, rural, native populations. We have made an impact. I believe that our industry also has matured and has the investment capital coming from some sources, but really needs that government partnership to take it over the top. And also from a CRA or Community Reinvestment Act perspective, I believe it helps banks make investments through the conduit of the CDFI, who really understands the market that we're investing in. And by doing that for banks and other investors, we really are a conduit for capital to small business owners, for affordable housing development, for shopping center development, that you wouldn't have happen but for those capital that comes through the CDFI to support us from a operational perspective, but also from a loan and capital delivery perspective also.
What approach has VestedIn found most effective in bridging the gap between generational poverty and wealth disparity in Philadelphia?
Wow, that's a real deep question. I think in Philadelphia, where you have systemic poverty, you're gonna have to look beyond just the capital delivery, but also look in terms of what are the roots causes and how did we get out of silos. And thinking about it this way, one of the reasons that VestedIn has a West Gold Fellows program is because we want to make sure young people get exposed to entrepreneurship, that they get exposed to understanding investing, that they get exposed to understanding real estate development. And it gives them a different mindset going to school, going and interacting with people. And then still providing and working with businesses where they can now get hired from, right? And building networks for them.
What advice would you give to other communities looking to establish locally controlled and sustainable funding streams?
My advice right now would be to, and this is, I would say this is for Philadelphia. This is not necessarily for other communities. I would identify a CDFI that you feel comfortable working with. Philadelphia has the luxury of having 13 CDFIs that all do some things that are slightly different. And so to the extent that whatever your community-based investment project happens to be, you can find a CDFI to help you through that. You can find a CDC to help you through that. And I think that's one of the spaces where we're very good at really thinking from the capital perspective. But like I said, community development isn't just about capital. Capital is an important part, but also being able to bring our networks to the table is just as important as the capital that we bring.